BlackRock is evil as they come. They are pushing an agenda. They're pushing it into corporate America. I mean, some of these companies we screen out is because they've been forced by these humongous companies, financial institutions like BlackRock and like Vanguard, who own so many shares that they have a voice in the corporate boardroom, and they're trying to force this woke agenda into corporate America. And of course, sometimes they don't have to force it too much. Corporate America is too willing.
Welcome, everybody, to Conversations That Matter. I'm your host, Alex Newman. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are so honored today to have with us Art Ally. He's the founder and president of Timothy Plan. It's the nation's leading biblically based pro-life, pro-family mutual fund group that uses stringent moral screening criteria designed to avoid investing shareholder money in companies that have a pattern of contributing to cultural pollution, like abortion, pornography, human trafficking, things like this. Full disclosure, I am invested in some of their funds. They have done incredibly well. Actually, before going on, I decided to check how they were doing. One is up 34%. The other is up 22% compared to a lot of other stuff that's down. So, they say, well, you can't invest in non-evil companies because then you're going to do bad. Nope, nothing of the sort. So Art does a lot of other things, but this Timothy Plan, the Timothy Partners that oversees it, they underwrite the Liberty Pastors Summit. They do so much good work. Art, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us. I want to just get right into it. How did you get the idea to do Timothy Plan? I mean, everybody says you have to kind of, support all the evil companies if you want to make money, and yet you've proven it's not true. Where'd you get the idea?
Well, that's what my friends at Wall Street told me. They said, "You're nuts, Allie. You can't do this." I got the idea with the 2x4 God has with my name on it. I didn't want to even do this, Alex, but it was time. It was time. I searched the entire industry to find anybody doing any kind of basic moral screening. And all that was out there is, the environmental things and things like that, and alcohol and tobacco. Nobody was dealing with issues like abortion, pornography, anti-family entertainment. And I became increasingly aware that corporate America is heavily involved in this stuff. And for people with a basic biblical value system to invest the money God's entrusted to them in companies that are trying to destroy them actually made no sense. So my friend said, "You're nuts." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You cannot screen out investing in the largest, most profitable companies in the industry and expect to get good investment returns." Well, my response has not changed in 29 years, Alex. Big word, if you are a Bible-believing Christian, obedience trumps performance every single time. But as you so graciously said, we've proven over 29 years we get competitive performance. I can't say the things you just said, or I'd be in deep trouble with the SEC, because past performance is no assurance of future results. But thank you for those kind comments. We've got great money managers. We have proven you do not have to own companies that are in reality trying to destroy our entire culture.
Yep. And what I've said is absolutely true. I right before we went on, I looked at my my investment portfolio, and I looked up Timothy Plan. I'm invested into a couple of y'all's funds, and they have done really, really well. And I appreciate that. But even more than that, even more than the returns, like you said, Art, I appreciate knowing that my money is not being used to support Planned Parenthood, to support the butchering of unborn babies, to support the unbelievable wokeness that we've seen just steamrolling over our culture. But Art, they told you couldn't do it, and yet you guys now have $2 billion under management. Do I have that correct? Are you guys managing $2 billion now?
We do, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so talk a little bit about your philosophy. How do you guys screen out companies? What are some of the things, like say Anheuser-Busch, for example, this crazy Bud Light thing? Would that be something that would disqualify a company if they're promoting transgenderism to kids, like Target?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been screening out Target for a long time for a lot of other issues. None of this is new, Alex, as you well know. But these companies are getting more and more bold on not even hiding it anymore. But, we have not owned Target. We will not own Target. Uh, Anheuser-Busch, we don't own them because we screen out addictive things like alcohol, tobacco, casino gambling. But yeah, they have taken a hit, a big hit, and that is encouraging to me because people are finally stepping up and understanding. And as we've talked about in the past, Alex, it's always about the money. Like money is a solution to everything, and it really isn't. Nothing wrong with money, but the way we handle it, the way we view it, is not necessarily biblical.
Yep. So, Art, I want to ask you about BlackRock. I know they're
Oh
huge,
man.
$10 trillion under management, but I just did a cover story for the New American about BlackRock, and I had spoken to several state attorneys generals who are investigating whether they're colluding to fix the market. They're working with the UN, these net zero asset management organizations sponsored by the UN. And what I found is that BlackRock is kind of weaponizing our money to
Absolutely.
make these companies do things that maybe the directors don't even want to do, but they're worried about being ousted. Talk a little bit about how our own capital, our own retirement funds, our own 401ks, public worker unions money is being weaponized to drive, really the most iconic American companies right off the cliff in terms of where they're at with their consumers, with their customers.
Yeah, BlackRock is evil as they come. They are pushing an agenda. They're pushing it into corporate America. I mean, some of these companies we screen out is because they've been forced by these humongous companies, financial institutions like BlackRock and like Vanguard, who own so many shares that they have a voice in the corporate boardroom, and they're trying to force this woke agenda into corporate America. And of course, sometimes they don't have to force it too much. Corporate America is too willing. But BlackRock, they're not a problem for you unless you own shares of BlackRock. But like you say, these people are waking up. The retirement plans, the ones that are running them, they're seeing BlackRock is in bed with China big time. BlackRock is pushing this ESG and woke agenda, which is pushing an ultra liberal, left leaning attempt to just destroy our culture. If somebody could tell me why, I'd sure be open to listening. I don't understand Larry Fink and what his thinking is, but I saw a little clip of an interview with him a couple of days ago, and he sat there and he says, "You know what? You just have to force people to do stuff." I mean, my gosh, what arrogance!
Yeah.
So, yeah, BlackRock is not a good firm, but they have so many assets, and people are waking up and starting to pull away. Florida pulled away. Some other states have in their retirement plans. They're finally figuring out that they have weaponized money. Now, Timothy, on the other side, we don't weaponize money, but we come out from among them and be separate, like the Bible says. We have proven you don't have to own those companies to get a competitive investment return. But even if you did have to suffer, how much are you willing to suffer for obedience? Will you take 1% less, 2% less, 5% less? What is your price? But we've proven you don't have to do that over the fullness of time. Sometimes we trail, sometimes we lead, but over time, we get very competitive performance.
Yep. And I've experienced that personally. And you didn't pay me to say that. It's just the absolute truth,
No,
Art.
a
I so
good thing.
appreciate
I'm
you.
glad you added that because I'd be in trouble
Right.
with it.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. So Art, we're almost out of time, but you were the founder of what's called Biblically Responsible Investing. For the folks out there who are tired of BlackRock weaponizing their retirement fund, how do people learn more about this? How can people find out what you guys at Timothy Partners are doing?
Oh man, thank you for asking that one because I think that is the core of the problem we face, whether you're a Christian or a non-Christian alike. Money is central to everything you do. And just think about where we get all of our training on how to handle money from the world or from the church and the Bible. And the answer is we get it all from the world and we operate the world's way. And no wonder we end up in a mess. So I actually hibernated, Alex, for 3 months and put together a biblical stewardship study course, 9 hours long, from cradle to grave on what the Bible says and what the world says for every aspect of handling money. And we're giving that away free to people if they'll just take it. You don't sit for 9 hours. I mean, you can do 20 minutes and come back later and can do 20 more. But it's right on our website on the homepage, Biblical Stewardship course. Anybody can do it, and it is free.
Well, Art Alley, we appreciate so much what you're doing. We appreciate you joining us. I know you've got all kinds of stuff to do today, but you are once again the founder of the Timothy Plan. You're doing so many great things. So thank you for joining us. God bless you, sir, and hopefully we'll catch up again very soon.
Okay, Alex, let's do this again. Thanks. God bless.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
In 1988, the John Birch Society produced a documentary so predictive, it's as though they had a time machine. Out of Control, Immigration Invasion was produced and hosted by investigative reporter William F. Jasper and looks at the growing problem of unrestricted illegal immigration that, in 1988, already saw upwards of 10 to 20 million illegal aliens within the borders of the U.S. Unknown agents from around the world using the southern border as easy entry. Certainly, some are innocent families escaping hardship, but also certainly some are criminals, potentially terrorists. Is it not appropriate that there be some criteria for the entry of any sovereign nation? Why should the U.S. be different than Canada, Germany, Russia, Japan, or every other country on the planet? Out of Control, Immigration Invasion. Watch this time capsule of prescient wisdom at thenewamerican.com/outofcontrol.